Welcome to a journey into the unknown. In this horror story, The Archivist, we explore the eerie depths of a cursed library and the forbidden books that whisper secrets best left unheard. If you're a fan of supernatural horror and psychological thrillers, you're in the right place. I never meant to stay in Vermont. It was supposed to be a seasonal thing, one of those odd, academic side jobs you take when the city grinds you down. I needed time away from Boston, from the lectures, from the departmental politics that had turned my love of ancient texts into something bitter and paper-thin. So when the Montbrook Foundation offered me a temporary archival position, cataloging an inherited collection in a town I had to look up on a map, I said yes without blinking. The letter was old-fashioned, typed on a typewriter. No email, just a name, a salary, and the words, "Your discretion and solitude are expected. Lodging provided." The town of Coldwater isn't really a town. It's a smattering of old colonial homes clinging to a curved road that loops like a noose through a pine valley. There's a diner that opens 3 days a week, a post office no one uses, and a gas station where the attendant watches you too closely. But the library, the Ashcroft Memorial Library, stands like a temple to another time. Granite and slate, copper roof oxidized into green veins. Built in 1892, renovated once in the 50s, then mostly abandoned after digital records took over. Only the West Wing remains active. The East Wing, my new domain, has been sealed for decades. And beneath it, through a rusted service door and a winding stone stairwell, is the basement level known only in the paperwork as the Long Vault. It took 3 days to even access the vault. The door was locked with an old brass key that the Foundation courier handed over like it was cursed. The cellar was dry, surprisingly, and lined with iron shelves bolted to the stone. Most of the books were wrapped in waxed cloth and labeled in a numbering system I didn't recognize. No titles. No authors. Just spine codes like LXVIB or Delta 19. The air smelled of dried flowers and dust, and something else, something faintly coppery. I set up a small desk, plugged in the lone lamp powered by the generator upstairs, and began my work. By the second evening, I found the first book that didn't want to be opened. It was smaller than the others. A palm-sized volume bound in thick, dark leather, with no label on the spine. The clasp was iron, sealed with what looked like resin. When I pried it open, a strange scent rose. Not mildew, but something closer to burnt herbs. The pages were handwritten in a flowing script, in a language I didn't recognize. Not Latin, not Greek. Some glyphs repeated like vowels. Others squirmed under my gaze, as though shifting their lines when I wasn't looking. I didn't translate it. I don't think I could have. But that night, I dreamed of a stone circle buried in snow, where books were whispered into ice. I woke up gasping, cold despite the heater. My forearm itched. When I looked, I found a thin red line down the skin, straight as a quill stroke, like someone had begun to write on me, then stopped. I told myself it was a scratch. Old box edges. Dry air. Nothing to worry about. The second book was worse. It was encased in a glass box labeled "Not to be disturbed," 1904. Naturally, I opened it. This one was thicker, brittle, filled with diagrams that looked like anatomical sketches, but not of human bodies. One illustration showed a brain, laced with roots instead of nerves. Another displayed a mouth filled with too many teeth, singing. I closed the book after 20 minutes. The floor beneath me felt wrong, tilted, breathing. That night, I dreamed again. In the dream, I was in the same stone circle, but now I stood inside it, barefoot. The snow around me had melted. A single voice recited something in that strange language, over and over. Behind me, something wrote on the back of my neck. I woke up vomiting. There was blood in the sink and 3 thin red lines along my back, just beneath the shoulder blades. Not scratches, not symmetrical, almost like symbols. That morning, I considered leaving. I sat in the kitchen of the caretaker's house with my bag half-packed, and then I noticed it. A new book had appeared on the vault table. No number. No wrapping. The cover was soft, aged cloth, embroidered in silver thread. There was a single word etched on the front, Anaphon. I swear I hadn't seen it before. When I opened Anaphon, I didn't even try to translate. I just stared at the pages. They were blank at first. Then as I flipped them, I saw faint lines appear like invisible ink under breath. The lines didn't form words. They formed scenes. Me, hunched at the desk. Me, sleeping in the cot upstairs. Me, bleeding into the sink. And on the last page, a figure I hadn't seen before. Thin, long-fingered, cloaked in shadows, bending over my body, quill in hand. I threw the book across the room. It landed with a thud, not on the floor, but on another stack I hadn't cataloged yet. The sound echoed strangely. When I turned around, I thought I saw movement in the corner, but when I looked, it was only the empty shelving. Still, I could swear something had been standing there, watching. That was 2 nights ago. Since then, the dreams haven't stopped. I've stopped trying to sleep at all. But even when I nod off for just a second, I find myself back in that stone circle. The books hum. The ink glows beneath the snow. And always, the voice whispers, "You are the next one. You will write. You will be read." Tomorrow, I will go deeper into the vault. There's a hatch in the floor I haven't opened yet. It's sealed with the same resin. Something beneath calls to me when I pass it, like static, just beyond hearing. I don't know what I'm becoming, but I think it's already begun writing me. There is a kind of silence in the long vault that doesn't feel natural. It's not just the absence of noise, it's the sense that the space remembers sound, that it has heard too much already and is waiting for more. I've stopped using the desk lamp. The hum was too loud. Now I work by candlelight, which somehow feels less intrusive, quieter. The flame flickers, and the shadows stretch unnaturally long across the stone. But at least the books don't pulse when I light candles. Yes, I said pulse. There's one book, the one labeled only with a black square, that feels warm when I touch it. Its cover seems to shift when I blink. It has no pages, just a mirror-like surface inside, faintly reflective, that fogs whenever I breathe near it. Once, I saw my reflection blink when I didn't. The dreams have moved beyond sleep. Now, I see things when I close my eyes. Just for a moment, flashes. Symbols etched into ice. Faces with stitched eyes. A room of shelves that go upward into pitch-black sky. One afternoon, after skimming a tome bound in what looks like fish skin, I blinked and saw a page I'd never turned to, and the voice in my mind whispered its content word for word. When I opened my eyes, the text was written on the wall in ash. I began recording myself at night. I set up the old camcorder left by the previous caretaker. Last night, I watched the tape at 3:19 a.m. I sat up in bed. My eyes were open, unblinking. My lips moved, whispering something I couldn't make out. Then I stood, walked to the table, and opened the Anaphon. I took out a pencil and wrote in it. One word, repeated 4 times. Remember. When I looked at the book this morning, the page was blank, but my hand was covered in graphite dust, and the eraser on my pencil was gone. The townspeople don't ask questions anymore. At first, when I walked to the diner or past the church on Sundays, they gave me polite nods. Now they avert their eyes. One boy, maybe 12, looked at me and started crying. His mother pulled him away like I was contagious. Yesterday, someone left a note under my door. Torn paper. Sloppy ink. The library doesn't close. It consumes. If you dream, it's already reading you. I finally opened the hatch. It led down into a narrow stone shaft, spiral steps descending into a second vault below. This level was colder, wetter. Mold slicked the walls, but the books were untouched. Dry, preserved. On a pedestal in the center of the room sat the root codex. That's what was carved into the marble beneath it, in English. The only book labeled in any normal way. It was bound in white leather, etched with veins of gold. Beautiful and terrifying. I didn't open it. I couldn't. My hands shook. My vision blurred. Just standing near it made my ears ring. But that night, I dreamed of it again. This time, I wasn't standing in the stone circle. I was beneath it, under ice, watching the dream me read the codex, and above me, above the ice, something massive was moving, circling. This morning, there was blood on my pillow, not mine, not from my nose or mouth or ears. It was old, dried, smelled of copper and ink. On my arm, near the shoulder, a new mark had appeared, circular, etched into the skin like a tattoo, but with no ink, just raised, reddened flesh forming a rune I've only seen once, in the margins of the antiphon. The mark throbs when I pass certain books. I began searching the library records for anyone who had ever cataloged the Long Vault before me. Only one name came up, Henry Vellum, 1893. A single journal was listed under his name, marked personal, unclassified. It wasn't in the vault. I found it in a wall cavity behind a false panel in the east wing. The journal was leather-bound, brittle, pages yellowed with age. His first entry is dated March 3rd, 1893. His handwriting is cramped, urgent. The first few pages mirror my own experience. Unlocking the vault, opening the first sealed tomes, the dreams. By the fifth entry, he starts referring to a voice beneath the ink. In the ninth, he writes, "The books know me. They speak in my sleep. They call me the pen." In the 12th entry, he describes a vision of being peeled open like paper, thoughts unspooled like ribbon. The journal ends mid-sentence. No date. No sign-off. Just the start of a line. If you're reading this, it's 2. That was when I realized something horrifying. There's a gap in the vault's shelf numbering, right between Delta 19 and Delta 21. A missing volume. No catalog record. No title. I believe it's me. Or, more accurately, it will be. I believe I am being written into the collection. The antiphon reappeared on the desk last night. I had locked it in a drawer. It was just there. Its pages are no longer blank. The first half now contains illustrations, rough sketches of my room, my desk, the coat I wore yesterday. The second half is still forming. I watched, in real time, as a new line appeared. He returned to the codex. The root welcomed him. He began to write with flesh. And then I found the cool. In the root codex chamber, hidden beneath the pedestal, was a glass case. Inside, a quill pen made of something bone white, with a vein-like core running through it. When I touched it, it was warm. The ink pot beside it was filled with dark red fluid. Not ink. I haven't used it, not yet. But sometimes, when I stare at the codex, that vast, blank book bound in white, I see my name beginning to form on the inside cover. Not handwritten, not carved, but grown. Like fungus. I hear the voice more clearly now. It's not whispering anymore. It speaks in my own voice. I tried to leave. I packed a bag, locked the doors, walked to the old train station on the edge of town. I bought a one-way ticket south, anywhere. It didn't matter. I just wanted distance. But the moment I stepped onto the platform, my vision blurred. My legs trembled. My knees gave out beneath me like wet paper. They found me collapsed on the platform steps, mumbling in a language I don't speak. They brought me back. The townsfolk.no ambulance. No questions, no accusations, just cold, silent acceptance. One man, an older gentleman with frost in his beard, looked me dead in the eyes and said, "You opened the codex, didn't you? The long vault is different now. The layout shifts. Shelves are no longer where I left them. Corridors twist like tree roots. Stairs end in walls. Sometimes I hear breathing, not mine. Wet, rhythmic, enormous. I keep finding wet footprints. Human, but bare. As if someone is walking the halls in silence. The prints never lead in or out. They just begin, somewhere behind me. The antiphon has grown. That's the only word I can use. It now includes memories I haven't had yet. One page describes a candle burning out in my hand next Tuesday. Another shows me crying in front of the mirror, carving runes into my chest. Most terrifying of all, it refers to me in the past tense. He was a diligent archivist. He had such promise. Until the voice chose him. Henry Vellum is still here. I see him sometimes, flickering at the edge of candlelight, reflected in the dark glass of the library's locked display cases. His face is stitched at the mouth. His hands are raw and bleeding, bound by a shackle of braided paper. He doesn't speak, but I hear him. The words enter behind my ears, like a second breath. You are not the first, but you may be the last. I found a name scratched into the base of the root codex's pedestal, Codex Vitae. I looked it up. Latin. Roughly translated, it means Book of Life, but not mine. Not entirely. I believe the codex contains fragments of every soul that ever read from it. Every archivist, every scholar, every unwitting reader who opened it without understanding what it was. The book is a vessel, a growing, hungry archive of minds, and it's curating me. Last night, the quill moved. I didn't touch it. I swear I didn't, but I watched it hover over the open codex. The blood in the inkwell rippled as if something beneath the surface exhaled. The quill wrote 3 words in that bone-colored script. Take the pen. I tried to resist. I burned a dozen tomes. Pages curled. Smoke filled the vault. But the next morning, they were back on the shelves, pristine. Waiting. I smashed the mirror-covered book with a brick. It bled. Thick, oily ichor spilled out and hissed on the floor. By dusk, it was whole again. I cut the mark off my arm. It returned within the hour, larger. Now it has veins. It pulses. The library has dreams now. I know how insane that sounds, but I feel them when I sleep, like I'm inside something ancient and dreaming with me. The dreams show me its memories, ink flowing like rivers, voices chanting across centuries, 100,000 hands writing at once. I see a face without a body, formed of paper and breath, emerging from the folds of a turning page. It sees me. Today, I heard the bell, not the town bell, not the church, the one in the library. A long, slow, iron toll. A sound that came not from the air, but from within my skull. It marked the hour of return. That's what I knew, even if I don't know how. And then the books began to open on their own. I'm writing this now with shaking hands. My fingers are stained, not with ink, with blood. I took the quill. I didn't mean to, but it felt like breathing, like blinking, automatic. The codex is half filled now. Its pages smell like pine, salt, and rot. My memories are being written out of order. Some events have already happened by the time I remember them. I am becoming a chapter. Henry Vellum appeared again last night. Clearer this time. He held up both hands. The flesh was gone. Just bone and sinew and strips of text wrapped around each finger. And then he whispered, voice breaking through for the first time, "Finish the archive, or be unbound." I understand now. This place doesn't just store knowledge. It replaces it. We are not reading the texts. We are offered to them point one by one, mind by mind, page by page. The antiphon has only one page left. The root codex only one line. They both wait for the same thing. My final sentence. The final line came to me in a whisper, not spoken aloud. Not even in my mind. It bloomed in me as though I had always known it, just beneath the surface of thought, like a buried name. And it wasn't a sentence. It was a summoning. The candles in the long vault went out, one by one. Not blown, not extinguished. Just gone, like breath drawn in. The temperature dropped, but it wasn't the cold of air. It was the kind that wraps around your bones. The books began to hum, each tome vibrating like a tuning fork just beneath the range of hearing. Pages rippling without wind, shelves breathing in shallow pulses. And then I saw it, not a man, not a beast, not even a creature. It stepped out from the space between two bookshelves, not from the end of the aisle, but from the gap itself, like the paper of reality folded open. It had no face, just a head made of braided parchment, covered in script from every language I couldn't read. Limbs long and jointless, fingers like bundled quills. Its chest was an open book. Pages turned with every breath. I saw cities rise and fall in the margins. I saw my own name written, then struck out, then rewritten in her ed. It looked at me without eyes. "You have been written," it said. Its voice was ink and water, curling in the air. "You are the archivist now." I should have run, screamed, collapsed. But I didn't. I couldn't. My legs moved forward on their own. My hand reached for the codex. I placed the final page and wrote. He remained, even as the others turned away. And in his silence, he was chosen. The floor of the vault split open, not cracked, peeled, like a page being turned. Beneath it, I saw not dirt, not stone, but more books, thousands of them. Millions, spines without names, titles without languages. I was standing on a library that stretched down infinitely, and in each volume, I saw faces, mine, Henry's, others, some screaming, some weeping, some silent, all bound. The entity stepped back, its chest closed. It dissolved into script, letters unraveling, curling into the air, drifting into the spines of nearby books, and then the long vault was still. I live here now, not just in the library. I mean in it. When someone opens the root codex, I feel it. When they read the antiphon, I see through them. I watch the next one arrive. Always eager, always curious. The library welcomes them the way it welcomed me, and soon I will be the one who whispers. There is a line scratched beneath my name in the root codex now. It wasn't there before. I didn't write it. It says, he turned the page. Thank you for joining me in unraveling the mystery of the Archivist. If this tale sent chills down your spine, please like the video, subscribe for more horror stories, and share your thoughts in the comments below. Until next time, beware of the books that read you back.